Scorpio, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for late February 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Scorpio collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do you got for us? What do you have for Scorpio gang in late February as we move on into Pisces season? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. And at the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Scorpio gang. What do you got for us here, my guys? Let's get this card out nice and quick, hopefully. There we go. Ask and you shall receive. Now, there's a little bit of a complexity to this card because it does seem like this person is just sitting around, right? It seems like they're sitting around waiting. So, like, there could be a little bit of a warning about feeling bored or getting cabin fever and stuff like that. But there's a lot of different symbolic layers within it. So what may seem like business as usual or ordinary, actually there's more under the surface. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the February subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see, we have this lovely lady sitting by the window. We got a big golden clock. We got a bird delivering a letter. We have her waiting by the phone. We got a little kitty cat, little moon outside. So there's a lot of different symbolism here. Now, on an intuitive sense, and we even got flowers as well. So as I mentioned, to me, there's something about it that seems ordinary, but it's not. And knowing what I know about Scorpio energy, having Scorpio placements myself, usually very keen on seeing what's lying underneath. So when I get this card for a Scorpio reading, it's like, look a little deeper. There could be something that Spirit wants you to analyze a little bit further. Look a little deeper. Look a couple layers within. Now, if I were to put that to the side, this could represent time. This could represent somebody waiting around. There could be big connections to communication. But there's also this mystery, right? We have the moon on the outside, which implies that she's sitting and waiting, but she doesn't know what she's waiting for, or she's kind of just waiting on something to happen. So I'm not sure if some of you are in that kind of energy in this time. There are the communication undertones that we could dive into further throughout the reading. But the main thing I'm getting here, Scorpio, there could be a situation that may seem like business as usual, may seem like ordinary, but there's more to be seen or there's more to know. So we're just going to leave it at that. Let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading. It's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright. Then we'll get into that intuitive juiciness. Let's shuffle it up one time here for Scorpio gang. And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. So I liked it. I mean, to me, the reading was titled The Massive Karmic Payoff. And to me, it was like paying something forward or paying your dues, that there is a situation or a process that a lot of Scorpios are going through that will pay off in spades at some point. Now, I hope you did have that payoff. And I always say it could be in the form of business, it could be in the form of interpersonal relationships. So some Scorpios, maybe you got that payoff recently. Maybe it's still a ways away. But the main vibe last week was just reaffirming that something will be worth it. So we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take this how it hits for you, because we can be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards here for Scorpio gang, late February. What's happening? Let's get it going. Thank you. Cool. Queen of Wands. Confident. Bold. I like the Queen of Wands. I'm a little biased. I have some fire placements myself. But we're going to get her tucked in right there. This is a good card. Let's get a couple more, hopefully, right? Because sometimes she could be a little wild. Okay. Lovers. It's also a very good card, but it's someone else's energy. Let's get one more. What do we got here for Scorpio gang? Thank you. And the Page of Pentacles. So it seems, at least on the surface, that a lot of the energies that are presenting themselves to us right now are that of other people. Okay. I mean, of course, these could be different things with your energy as well, but let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes, and we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first look, first glance, if you watch my readings, you know I love to analyze the elements. I feel like it's very important because it could show us areas of life that could be highlighted right now, or just how the energy's flowing. And similar to the other water signs, I like the distribution of elements here because they're pretty much evenly distributed, right? If we have too much of one element, then things could get lopsided and clunky. But we have fire, we have air, we have earth. Nice. A lot of this is outside energy. A lot of this is action based. But fire, right here on the front, that's the realm of action, right? That's what the element means. It can represent energy levels. It can represent vitality. So maybe some of you are feeling very energetic. Maybe some of you are feeling a little bit tired of something. Very possible. But to me, I think of passion, drive, desire, and the actions we take because of it. That's usually a pretty good thing. However, when it comes to fire, it's very hard to contain. I always say that there could be a volatility to it. There could be a wild aspect to fire that we do want to keep an eye on because it can be explosive. In the center, we have air. Air element is logical, it's pragmatic. It talks about the logical conscious mind, right? So it's how we take in information. It's about learning things. It does deal heavily with communication, which seems to be a huge undertone this week. Uh, the downside to air, sometimes it could be a little cold, sometimes it could be a little detached, so it's a little flaky sometimes. But moving back here, we have earth. It's a very good element that vibes well with Scorpio. So when it comes to earth, that does speak about your feelings of stability, feelings of security, your day to day life and routine. I always think of work, money, business, investments, finances. I think of home and family. So Earth rules over all the material aspects of life. The downside to Earth, yeah, sometimes it could be a little too slow. Sometimes it can be frustrating. Sometimes it could be stubborn. So we need to see. And obviously, with Earth and fire, these are like outside circumstances. So we got a lot of things. Let's go through and start building this out piece by piece. Position number one, we start with our first court card. And just to mention, we got a court card, and a card of partnership showing up here. So notice none of them are the Scorpio cards yet. But position number one with the Queen of Wands, that could be a fire sign you're connected to. Remember, it's not gender specific. So this could be an Aries, a Leo, a Sagittarius. Now, I always say when it comes to queens, they represent the internal aspect of their suit. So all those things I was just saying about the action and the passion, the Queen of Wands embodies that. So when I see her, I think of a magnetic presence. I think of something that's bold and confident and sexy and attractive. Like it's just a beautiful, confident energy. So it does speak about how we view ourselves. That's another thing with the Queen of Wands. How do we view ourselves? How do we treat ourselves? Where's our self confidence? Sometimes she will show up if you're changing something about how you present yourself to the world. So if you're doing something with your hair or your style or you're making changes to your body, like this Queen of Wands will show up for that. But again, she's bold and confident. Now, the downside to her, the confidence can tick over into cockiness. Like, so watch out for anyone that's a little too ego driven. There's a fine line between confident and cocky, right? The Queen of Wands can also sometimes show up if we're being too hard on ourselves in the challenge. Now, moving to the middle, we have a card that is similar to that first card we had in the very beginning, where there's much more layers than it would seem. Because in the center, we have the Lovers. Now, obviously, a card named the Lovers that has Adam and Eve on it, everyone's going to immediately jump to, this is my person, this is someone I'm romantically tied to. And yeah, it can mean that, right? This is a card of soul ties, soul connections. If you're connected to a Gemini or have a Gemini placement, this is their card. So yeah, it can represent partnerships. I always say it's not just lovers, so it's not just someone you're romantically interested in. It's just someone you care a great deal for. This could be like a kindred spirit, soul tie, soul connection, someone that's very important to you. Now, if you don't have anyone like that in your life right now, it's okay because this card is not just about partnerships and connections. Sure, it might show us how someone's doing or the things that they're going through or the things that they're planning. But the archangel Raphael being depicted here is super important because he's the archangel that ties to healing, health, wellness. So the fact that he's here, if you're not going through anything interpersonal, this is really good because it's a smooth flowing energy normally. So we'll see. Now, the downside with the lovers, it could sometimes represent indecision, feeling stuck between a rock and a hard place. And the lovers can also represent when you and someone you care deeply for are on different frequencies at the moment. Now, on the back end, we do have the communication line that continues through. We have the Page of Pentacles, big earth sign energy, so maybe Capricorn, Virgo, Taurus. If that's not the case, all pages are students, all pages are messengers. I always say that. Specifically, this one, this is great for learning. It's great for taking in information. It's great for anything new. So keep that in mind, especially with what I saw earlier in the reading and what we see here, where there could be certain things beyond the surface. Like spirit might want you to dig into something deeper. I can't let go of that. The page, it could just be a message. It could just be a talk or a conversation that we'll want to look at. The only downside to pages is sometimes they could be a little bashful and shy or repress and hold things back where it's like, I should have said something, but I didn't, or I want to say something, but I won't. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Scorpio, let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay. Let's get a good shuffle here for you, my friends. What do we got for Scorpio gang, please? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Queen of Wands. Let's see what's happening. And yeah, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Scorpio, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, why is the beautiful Queen of Wands here, please? Why is she here? Thank you. This is a difficult energy to work with potentially. All right, so we have the Two of Cups in reverse. Funny how we're just like seeing all these different people, all these different partnerships, where even if you're one of the Scorpios where that is not even something that's on your mind, to me it's like the universe is going to continue to like present people to you for some reason. So even if you're not very social, even if you're like no, not worrying about people right now, to me it's like the universe is going to keep funneling people your way. So I guess that's good for some of you. But the Two of Cups is very similar to the Lovers. Very similar. All the things I was just saying, the positives and the negatives, soul tie, soul connection, all that good stuff. When it's in reverse under a card like this Queen of Wands, this is a very difficult energy to deal with. So we are kind of already picking up a warning where this could represent a person that thinks that they're never wrong, they're always right, or they don't like taking feedback from other people, where it's like, if you got to meet me halfway here, like this energy won't meet you halfway. If anything, this energy could potentially bulldoze others. Okay. And again, I'm not saying if you're a fire sign, I'm not saying that's you. Remember, cross watchers, you take it however it hits. This is a very pressure filled, aggressive type of energy I'm picking up here. So it's borderline on the verge of like anger or mad, or it's just very aggressive and difficult to work with. Okay. So we're going to keep moving. We're going to keep it simple. So watch out for any people that are just really difficult to work with, like oil and water, or it's anger. It's one or the other. One or the other. Where it's like, if you could just meet me halfway, we could turn this card upside down. All right, let's keep moving. Again, that could just be a friend, it could be a coworker, it could be whoever. Like the energy, it's just super difficult to work with. It's very aggressive and very pushy. And from what I know about Scorpio energy, Scorpio usually doesn't respond too well to aggressive, pushy energy directed at them. But let's keep moving. Let's see what's up with the Lovers. I mean, for some of you, like with this Queen of Wands, Two of Cups in reverse, maybe you're just, that could also be someone that's cool flying solo too. All right. Then this energy, all right, it's like it tries to mend a bridge. So we have the Ace of Wands in reverse underneath the Lovers, where like this energy is too aggressive and this one is a little too passive. So I do see an imbalance here where there's one energy that I'm seeing that's angry or mad or just very pushy, very aggressive. And then this one just wants to keep the peace. So it's like the one is always taking, the one is always giving. That's how it feels to me. So watch out for any relationships or situations where it's like you give, you give, you give, you give. You're always giving, 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 and this energy won't meet you halfway. So even on top of like the aggression and anger, it's an energy that's trying to smooth something out. Now, if we put that energy to the side, we can easily say that, all right, maybe is this someone that's going to apologize? That could be possible, right? Like with this energy, it oversteps. Remember, it's fiery, it's explosive, it's aggressive. And then this one tries to cool down the temperature. Remember, all aces can represent offers, opportunities, but communication. Ace of Wands, very fiery, very pushy. We got it in reverse under the Lovers. So it's like trying to keep the peace. So whether it's one person in a dynamic or someone that oversteps and then tries to mend that bridge. There's also this energy around a talk or a communication where someone might say something they don't mean to say, or they like let their filter down, where it's like, oh, should I have said that? Maybe I took that a little too far. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. All right, let's see what's up with that Page of Pentacles. Then we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. So why is the Page of Pentacles here? Okay. Okay. I'm not thrilled. I'm not thrilled about it, but I don't hate it. So I have the Knight of Pentacles in the upright, and to me, there's like no in between here. That's the thing that I think is bothering me, because I'm a big believer that with any situation, any connection, any relationship, anything at all, it's very important to have a gray area. It's very important to have nuance for situations. And to me, it's like either stale and boring or going crazy, going wild. And there's like not a lot of in between. I don't know why it's showing up to me like that. Now, there is really big importance around communication, especially on the back end. We have the Page of Pentacles, Knight of Pentacles, especially if there is a conversation you want to have, whether it's an important talk or, you know, a very pressing topic that you want to discuss. It's important to let things simmer down. It's important to let things be calm, especially like with the Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles on the back, because this energy, it's slow, it's taking its time. It's not all wild and aggressive like I have here in the front. It's not imbalanced. So it's like, all right, let's circle back on this. So if you're dealing with any people or situations and feelings are just running a little too high, this is Spirit saying like, hey, let it simmer first. Let it mellow out first. Reapproach this from a calmer place. But it also gives me that stale type of energy as well for some reason. So I'm not sure if you're in a place where it's like, yeah, I've heard this before. Oh, yeah, I've heard all this before. There's just something here where it's like either too aggressive or too volatile or just like not enough. There's like not a gray area. So watch the energy around connections, other people, but especially communication. It's important to try uh, to have these important talks or whatever these conversations are from a calm, grounded place. All right, let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow. But if you kindly look in the box, I mean, other people's energy showing up big here. And we do start with an aggressive one. We have the Queen of Wands with the Two of Cups in reverse. And as I said, to me, that feels like a difficult energy to work with for some reason, where it's just a little too aggressive. It could even be angry type of energy where it's just pushy, 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 pushy. So watch out for stuff like that. For a very small percentage of you, if you're cool flying solo, awesome. I was also getting this energy of the universe putting people into your experience, so keep that in mind too. But the main thing I was picking up here is just difficult to work with, too aggressive, angry, mad. In the center, we have the Lovers with the Ace of Wands. This energy does cool it off, so hopefully if this is someone that crossed the line or said something they should have, they do come in and apologize for it or try to smooth things over. But this could also be a dynamic where, like, this one is always giving, this one's always taking, this one's always pushing it, this one's always receiving. So there's an imbalance there. On the back end, we have the Page of Pentacles with the Knight of Pentacles in the upright. Now, there was advice about having an important talk or conversation from a grounded, calm place. So if this stuff does pop off, very important to put a pin in it and approach it down the line when things aren't burning hot, or this energy is not burning hot. But then I also get this stale energy where it's like either it's too wild or it's not enough. There's not a lot of nuance. There's not a lot of gray area or in between. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into that further. It feels like there's a lot of complicated interpersonal things, but we're going to see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this going here. Yeah, that reading just felt like very complex. Very complex. Okay. Yeah, and another person. So it's like we're flooded with people here, right? And finally, we got a Scorpio card. This is the Queen of Wands, the Two of Cups, the Lovers, the Page, the Knight. Now we got the Queen of Cups showing up in the shadows. Now, for a Scorpio reading, this is actually a very good shadow card. Remember, the Queen of Cups is loving, nurturing, caring. So there should be an emphasis and focus on self-love, self-care, especially with the Queen of Wands showing up within the spread itself. So treat yourself right. Be kind to yourself. Don't carry too much of a burden. But the shadow side of the Queen of Cups is that she could be prone to suppression. She could be prone to push things down, push things down, push things down. And again, I have Scorpio placements myself, a moon specifically. I know that we can be prone to do that. So the big shadow side of her is like there's only so much you can push down. You need some sort of release valve for it because the Queen of Cups can at some point emotionally overflow, to put it nicely. So we're just going to put her down right there, my beautiful Scorpio friends. That's what I have for you this week. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give the details. The February subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, you could book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com, so we could have a little chat. My February calendar is up, so go check that out. They usually go pretty quick. But for the February subscriber surprise, we're doing a nice different style this month. We're doing a winner's choice. So the winners, which will be 3, will have their choice of the Tarot of the Owls, the Gilded Tarot Royale, or a handmade crystal pendant from my shop, mastermetaphysics.com, once again. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments, out of all the cards we saw in this week's reading, which one caught your attention the most, whether it really inspired you or hit you right in your feelings. Anyone that stood out to you, and you'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.